Hey guys, Rochelle here. I have something exciting to share with you guys. This is my newest deck release and guidebooks, and it's called the Unbound Tarot, a Lilith Story. So I have two versions here of the deck. This one is from Game Crafter, and this one is from Make Playing Cards. Now, I am going to be offering a version of this deck in linen, in superior smooth, in standard smooth, which I call more or less like economy, from Make Playing Cards. I'm also going to put some options for some gilding in a tin and in a box. There's going to be several different options for you. Now, over at Game Crafter, I'm going to have one version available. This one is in linen. I don't really care for their linen with this particular deck just because it's a darker deck and their linen is like bigger. So I'm doing only the coated, okay, for this particular deck, and it will be coming with a guide or with a tuck box. I also have 3 different guidebooks that are going to be available separately on Amazon. And I'm going to go over these different guidebooks with you. They're different price points. So this is the original book that I did. And it is a smaller print because I have a lot of information in here, okay? And so in order to fit everything that I wanted on each of the pages, I didn't want it to be like one font size on one page and then a different font size on another page. So the majority of this is like 10.5. There might be a couple of spots where it's 10 just because there was so much information to put on each one. So this one has smaller. But I'll show you the bigger book for all of the details that are in the book. But just to show you the difference, this book also has 88 different spreads in the book as well. So this is what a layout looks like in this particular version. Smaller version, and what it comes with is the Fool, the archetype, and then like a little, like other name I could say for, each one of the cards. They all have them. Astrological association and the elements that are associated with it. A story, the upright version, like keywords, small meanings for upright, shadow expression, also just a little bit, small paragraph about it. Same with a spread, information about the spread. There is a spread for each card, minor arcana and major arcana. This one is the threshold spread, and then a section that says Lilith Speaks. Okay, so even before, I've got talking about the major arcana. I designed this because if you are a person that's never picked up tarot before, this does talk about the entire system. So you could learn, this could be a starter deck, okay? Especially if you are somebody that's very much into understanding the, Lilith. So this is what each of those look like, because this is dedicated to Lilith. I am not a devotee of Lilith, but this is dedicated to Lilith, as well as others. But that's what that all looks like. Then we get into the minor arcana. We've got the element of fire here. We talk about that. Some keywords for that. Fire and astrology, because this book also, the guidebook also incorporates the deacons and astrological stuff as well. and I will get more in detail with that. But, so Ace of Fire, this is what it looks like. I have not, sometimes you'll see that there's more information for the major arcana than there is the minor arcana. I have not done that. They're all the same format for everything. So there's upright, there's shadow, there's a write-up, there's meaning, there's astrological influences, there's archetypes, there's deacons associated with, there's a spread, what the astrological influence is, what it means, because people do the deacon walk and then they go, well, what does it mean? Especially if you don't know astrology, they're like, well, what does it mean if this is in this, right? So I cover that part. So for instance, Mars and Aries for 2 of Fire. This placement represents raw initiative and the powerful drive to begin something new. Mars in Aries carries bold, pioneering energy, the courage to step forward and claim one's path without waiting for permission. This influence amplifies the fire's elements, natural qualities of determination, independence, and action. So there's that for all of the deacon stuff also. Your spread and a Lilith Speaks. So the Lilith Speaks part is something that is part of like getting a direct message if you got that card from Lilith herself, okay? As well as it's a small image, which I will show the deck too, but it's a small image of each one of the cards and then the information there. So that's what this book holds. And it is like that for each system. So then we go into the element of water, and then into the element of air. And then it does it all the way through. And then towards the end, not only do I have, well, I'll show you in the big book. Okay, and then an about me. This is roughly 206 pages. This is just your smaller first small image book. This is more cost effective. This is like going to be $22.99, I believe, on Amazon. It is full color, but it's not like the high quality color, okay? Because the images, I just kept them small in order to keep the cost down. The next version is, I did an expanded version, okay? This one is a full color. It's the higher quality color. And so I want to show you all the stuff that's also in here. It was a very special night that it was, it sparked in me, right, to create this. This is the table of contents, my inspiration for creating it, Lilith, myth, archetype, and reclamation. So a little write-up about that. The journey of Lilith through the tarot. It talks about the whole structure, everything of this. And then astrology and the deacons. So for those that know, I am a true sidereal astrologist, right? I have done the deacon walk or partial deacon walk. I didn't feel it was really necessary after I understood all of it. But I know that there's a lot of people that like doing the deacon walk. So I put that into this. And it is like a added layer. The reason I didn't put it on the cards is because if you don't want to do the astrological associations, or you don't want to use the deacons or anything like that, and you're just, you just want to use the tarot for what it is, simple, without marring up the cards, I left it like that. But if you want to go deeper, you can. But a lot of people, especially if you're brand new to the deacon walk and you're brand new to astrology, sometimes the basic information is even left out of the guidebooks about the different characteristics of the zodiac signs as well as the planets, dates, all that. So I've put that all in here, just basic information about all of the zodiac signs. And I did include Ophiuchus, even though it's not part of the deacons. Planetary characteristics, I've got all those, basic, all the way through Pluto, so all of the planets. Then I've got a Deacon date guide, and this is from my own Deacon walk. Okay, these are the dates that I have, which are very, very close to, if not the same. It might be a difference of one day, right? Of Gemini 1, 2, 3, Leo, all of the different deacons. So if you ever want to use your deck as in layering just for dates, it's all in here as well. Then, because this is a Lilith story, of course and because it's also astrology based as well, I wanted to put Black Moon Lilith, right? So I put a write-up about Black Moon Lilith, as well as a spread for Black Moon the Black Moon Lilith spread about shadow, truth, and reclamation. And also because Ophiuchus, I have tied in, I'm not going to talk about it, too much here. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Like I said, it's not part of the deacon system, but I do find it interesting that Ophiuchus has been hidden, although in plain sight, it's always been there. Kind of like Lilith's story. The suppression of Lilith and the divine feminine feels very much like the serpent bearer in Ophiuchus, right? And I also had recently somebody ask me, like, why does my snakes have round eyes? It's because Lilith is a shapeshifter. She was the serpent. In my story, she was the serpent. Anyways, so I've got to write up about Ophiuchus, and then a 13 card spread for Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer spread. Here it is. Then we get into entering the cards, the journey of Lilith, and then the major arcana, just like in the other one. And then this is what it looks like. So each one has the full page. This has been corrected on everything new that's coming out. I've already corrected that. And then the write-up for the Fool. And then your upright meaning, keywords and meaning, shadow expression, keywords and meaning, card meaning, as far as, well, card meaning is on all the pages. I mean, the 2 pages like this. And then, so we've got then the threshold spread. We've got the Lilith Speaks. There's a Lilith Speaks for every single one of them, but one of the other things that I have expanded, not only is the font in this a 12-point font, which is like your run-of-the-mill font size, okay? That's another reason I wanted to expand it, because I have several people in my inner circle that are sight impaired. So it only felt right to also offer a larger edition with the bigger pictures that you can, see it better. So the Lilith Speaks, but this also, each card in the expanded version is, they're not affirmations, they're more like empowerment reclamations, okay? Because this deck is all about personal empowerment and digging into the shadow because of all of the spreads and all that. So there's those for each one, and then Seats of Power also for each card in the entire deck for Seats of Power, which are your primary and your secondary chakras that I associate each card with. So that's how that looks for each one. And then we go into also the same element of fire and astrology. And then we get into the fire. And same with, I did keep these elemental instead of tool-based, because I feel like she becomes the embodiment of each one of the, like we are. She becomes the embodiment of each one of those suits. So then we've got the element of water. And on and on and on and on. Okay, now the next one, this is a little bit bigger than what it's going to end up being. This is the black and white version. When I got this in, my copy looked fantastic in the PDF. When I uploaded it to KDP, which is the Kindle process, whatever it's called. It's the Amazon stuff that you have to upload when you're doing a book through them, right? They came out terrible. And there was just because it is cheaper, okay? Even the writing is not as bright. It's not like black. It's like more gray writing. So I decided to shorten the book. If the images were so terrible, which they were, there was a few that turned out okay, but the majority, no. So I took all of the images out of it, kept the 12-point font, kept the other expanded things in here, like the Unbound Vows and the Seat of Power, for each one of the things, but for each one of the cards. There's still 88 spreads in here, and all the other deacon information, everything. The only thing that's really been taken out of this one is all the images. It was just a waste. So with doing a black and white only, and it ends up being like 270 or 280 pages for the black and white, in comparison to this one that is full color, high quality color, and it ends up being like 362 pages. So that is the difference of the 3 guidebooks that you're going to have a choice of. This one, the reason this one came about is because this one is so pricey. $49.99 is how much this one is. I know a lot of people are probably not going to want to pay that. I mean, I think it's worth it, but of course I do. It's my book, right? So, yes. This one is going to be the least expensive because it's the least quality with just black and white. And the ink, if I could even show you the ink difference of black and white quality. You see how gray that is and how darker that is? But it's still 12 point, all that, just no images. But this is going to be $19.99. And it's also because it's less pages. This is like 278 pages it ended up being, I think. And this one is like 362. And this one is like 206, but it's smaller print. So if you don't have eye problems, you know, your sight is okay, this is probably the best version, although you're not getting the big image and all that. So let's go on and show you the deck, okay? Okay, so as I said, this is the Game Crafters, and this is the Make Playing cards. Now, I'm going to show you this one, but it's not going to be like this because I decided to put this only in, like I said, with the coating, the UV coating, and not the linen, because I don't prefer the linen on this deck because this deck is a little bit darker. Now, I will say also that both files have also been updated from both of these, Make Playing Cards and Game Crafter, because I have lightened up and gave more clarity on the deck itself. But here's the Fool. And the Fool is the stage where she is actually leaving the Garden of Eden. Okay? She's just beyond the gates. She's just past the gates. So, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress. There have been, like I said, slight changes also to these. The Emperor. There is going to be a smooth version for this as well. With it being a darker deck, sometimes the linen can make it more difficult to see it. So, the Hierophant. The Lovers. This is where she's actually choosing to leave. That's her choice, right? Okay, sorry. Hopefully the washing machine doesn't get too loud. So we got the Chariot. Let me show you the backs also. Isn't that cool? Strength. The Hermit. Wheel of Fortune. All right, that's enough for this one. There's Justice. The Hanged One. Death. You can see shedding her serpent skin because she is the serpent. She's a shapeshifter, which you will see that a little bit in the elements, the suits. The Alchemist. The Devil. I love this one. You see she's got the devil in the shadow here. She's holding the serpent. All the people are pointing at her. Yes. We've got the Tower. We've got the Star. She's holding like the cosmos in her hand. You see the Moon. Her reflection is down here also. We've got the Sun. When I get the updated, they're both coming to me from both sites because, like I said, I have corrected a lot of the coloring and stuff like that in both of these. I'm just still waiting on them. But Judgment and the World. But like I said, I am going to be offering on Make Playing Cards many different options. So, but it is more expensive. I will say it is more expensive also because of the tariffs and the taxes, the shipping and the tariffs coming from China with Make Playing Cards. However, I really do love the quality so much better at Make Playing Cards than I do at Game Crafter. But to each their own, because I like being able to give options if it's possible. And the Game Crafters, because of it not coming from outside of the U.S. for U.S. people, you don't have the like hefty shipping and no tariff fees. So, and it is less expensive. From the get-go, it's less expensive at Game Crafters than it is at Make Playing Cards. So that's one thing. I have found that the stuff actually ships to me faster from Make Playing Cards than it does from Game Crafter for whatever reason. I don't know. So maybe a lot of people are starting to go more towards Game Crafter, so they're not set up for the onslaught of business that they're getting. I don't know. That could be it. Maybe it'll slow down, or, you know, they'll hire more people. I don't know. But I have noticed from when I order things over on Game Crafter in comparison to Make Playing Cards, it is a difference of about a week. So I'm usually getting stuff from Make Playing Cards within about a 2-week period, and Game Crafter about a three weeks, even though they're like in Wisconsin. So they're a state away from me, and it's taken like 3 weeks to get to me, even though. So take all that into consideration. We've got the Ace of Fire. We've got the Two of Fire. Three of Fire. Four of Fire. Five of Fire. Her eyes are golden amber. It's like they take on a lot of the characteristics. She takes on a lot of the characteristics of that suit. That's a Blood Moon for the Six of Fire. Seven of Fire. Look at her wield that power. Eight of Fire. Nine of Fire. This is where it's starting to spark inside of her, right? Nine of Fire. 10 of Fire. This goes back too, because there's more than 10 here. There's actually 15 flames. this is pointing back to, because you see she's holding her hand over her chest. She's feeling the weight of the world really on her shoulders because of going back to key 15, hence the 15 flames, of her being deemed as a demoness, mother of demons, simply because she did not want to be looked at as less than. She wanted equal. She wanted to be equal to her counterpart. So that's why that burden was heavy, right? And we've got our Page of Fire, our Knight of Fire, our Queen of Fire. Is she not the most fabulous? And I've also got a mat with this over on my 4th wall. And this is where she is like the embodiment also in the King of Fire. Of Fire. She wields it, but with complete control. You know, she has mastered that. This has been changed because I know, oh, I should mention, yes, this is AI. I'm sure you figured it out, but I did use AI art when making this. I worked with my ChatGPT for all of this. But her hand, I could not, for whatever reason, get the hand right. So in the update, which I'll show you in the book, let me do that right quick. It's been updated. You see, it's been updated. Now her hand is actually in the water. And then she's holding the chalice with one hand. But I actually like that better for the Ace of Water anyways, instead of both hands holding it. So yes, this has been updated no matter where you get it from. And we've got our Two of Water. And this is not about being completed or getting her cup filled by somebody else. It is the other aspect of herself, right? Becoming whole. And we have Three of Water. And these are like sisters, right? Of devotees or followers of Lilith. And a new moon or dark moon, right? And we have our Four of Water. Five of Water, the 3 spilled. This has also been changed. Let me show you how this one has been changed. Just a slight change. Okay, let me show you. He's no longer holding the cup. She's holding the cup. There's one down on the ground, and then they're looking over. This is her thinking back into her time in Eden with Adam. Looking back on it fondly. Her liberation came at a cost, you know. 7 of Water. 8 of Water. 9 of Water. 10 of Water. It's like her sisterhood that's around her, right? Page of Water. Knight of Water. She's on a water dragon. And this is her on her throne, Queen of Water. And this is her, she has embodied it, and she has embodied it so much that you can see like the sea coming through her skin. Her eyes have changed color when she is in the embodiment of water. Hence her shapeshifter abilities to absorb, right, and become. And then we go into the Ace of Air, 2 of Air, 3 of Air. I hate it when I see 3 through a heart for 3 of Air, which is like communication and thoughts and learning. So this seemed more appropriate. 4 of Air, 5 of Air, 6 of Air, 7. This is her on top of a cathedral. She's got 2 gargoyles next to her, and then you see the 7 swords and a stained glass for 7 of air. She's looking over, not just over her back, she's looking over like religion itself and what's being said about her and yada, yada, yada. 8 of air. 9 of air. 10 of air. All those swords through the written words, right? We've got our page of air, the studying, our knight of air. Here's our queen of air. She's got 2 crows. And king of air. You see, she's still taking on that mantle. Even her demeanor, her facial features change with every, like, part of her life. Everything that she embodies, it changes. She changes. She grows. Ace of earth. 2 of earth. You know about the balancing, yada, yada. This has been changed. Let me show you how that's been changed. Her tools and the other arm. It's all been changed because it did not come out right. Anybody that thinks working with AI is super easy has never worked with it. There was a lot of work that was put into this. So that's the 3 of earth, 4 of earth, 5 of earth, 6 of earth, 7 of earth, 8 of earth, 9 of earth, 10 of earth. Sorry if you can hear my washing machine. I'm doing laundry all day. Page of earth, knight of earth, queen of earth, and our king of earth. Okay, so let's shuffle, and I'll get out a few. So you can see how it reads, okay? I do love the cardstock at Make Playing Cards. It's such a good shuffle. Okay. All right, so give me a couple of cards to read for. Okay. You know what? I do want to read, like, the Devil card. I feel like that's a strong one in here. Let me find it right quick. Okay, so here is the 7 of Earth card. I'll read on that one. As I said, it has been changed a bit. This is in the big book. Okay. 7 of Earth. The Tree of Patience. Archetype, the Cultivator. Element, Earth. 3rd Decan of Taurus, and it's Saturn in Taurus. Deep within the quiet forest, Lilith stands before a great tree whose trunk glows with the symbols of pentacles emerging like fruit within its bark. Each one represents something that has been planted through time, effort, and intention. She raises her hands towards the tree, not to take from it, but to witness its growth. The 7 of Earth is the moment of pause within the cycle of manifestation. After effort has been invested and seeds have been planted, the process of growth must unfold in its own time. Not everything ripens immediately. Some creations demand patience. The influence of Saturn in Taurus speaks to the discipline required to build lasting foundations. Taurus governs the material world, resources, and tangible results, while Saturn represents time, structure, and the lessons of endurance. Together, they remind us that meaningful growth often occurs slowly and steadily. Lilith understands that true manifestation cannot be rushed. The pentacles appearing within the tree show that the work has already begun to take form beneath the surface, but harvest comes later. For now, this moment is about observation, patience, and trust in the natural rhythm of creation. So the upright keywords we have is patience, long-term investment, evaluating progress, steady growth, and trusting the process. Says this card appears when effort has already been applied and the results are still developing. It encourages patience and thoughtful assessment before moving forward. The shadow expression keywords are frustration with slow progress, impatience, abandoning efforts too early, and doubting long-term success. In shadow, the desire for immediate results may cause someone to give up on something that simply needs more time to mature. So the card meaning, the Seven of Earth carries the influence of Saturn in Taurus, the astrological influence, blending the slow discipline of Saturn with the steady, grounded nature of Taurus. Saturn represents time, endurance, and the building of long-lasting structures, while Taurus governs resources, stability, and tangible outcomes. Together, they teach that lasting success grows through patience, persistence, and dedication to the process. The harvest yet to come spread. So it's 4 cards. What seeds have I already planted that are still growing? Where do I need to practice patience in my life? Am I recognizing the progress already made? And what long-term vision am I nurturing? I like having a spread for each one of the cards because especially if you are brand new to tarot and you're trying to learn the archetypes behind each of the cards, when you draw one a day in your learning process, actually doing a spread, I believe, can help cement that understanding a little bit better and help you see how that energy might be showing up in your life or the energy of the day, whatever, what have you. So, Lilith speaks. The roots grow long before the fruit appears. The Unbound Vow. I trust what I have invested in. Growth takes time and I allow it to unfold. Remember, those are like not affirmations, but kind of like affirmations. They're like strong reclamations. They're empowerment messages, right? And then the seats of power that I believe that the Seven of Earth chakras that they are associated with. I would say the primary one is the root chakra, and then the secondary one is the third eye chakra. So let me find the next one. So the next card you see here is the Devil, and this is what it looks like in the big book. Okay, so we've got the Devil, the shadow of projection, archetype, the shadow. Astrological association is Capricorn, and the element is Earth. As Lilith continues forward, she encounters a shadow that has followed her for centuries. Throughout history, her refusal to submit was not understood. Instead, it was feared. Those who could not control her named her dangerous. Those who could not silence her called her monstrous, and so a shadow was cast. The Devil represents the moment when Lilith confronts the image that others created for her. She confronts the label, the accusation, the myth designed to turn power into something frightening. Before her, voices point in condemnation. Behind her, the shadow of the demon looms across the stone walls. But Lilith does not tremble. She walks forward with acceptance into the projection, understanding that the greatest chains are often the ones forged by fear and misunderstanding. The Devil reminds us that many of the forces that bind us are illusions reinforced by belief. shame, guilt, and imposed identity can become poisons when we accept them as truth. Lilith refuses to carry these chains. Instead, she sees the shadow clearly for what it is, a projection of power misunderstood. In reclaiming what others once feared, she transforms the shadow into strength. So the upright keywords are confronting shadow aspects, breaking free from limiting beliefs, reclaiming power once suppressed, recognizing projection and manipulation, and liberation from imposed identity. The devil appears when hidden fears, attachments, or limiting narratives are ready to be confronted. Let me pause that a minute. This card invites awareness of the ways external expectations or internalized shame may have shaped your sense of self. Freedom begins with recognition. So I have said all along the devil is the shadow work card for me. Shadow expression, these are the key words. Feeling trapped or powerless, shame or guilt controlling decisions, addictive patterns or unhealthy attachments, and believing negative labels placed by others. So the shadow meaning also is in shadow, the devil warns against allowing fear or external judgment to dictate your identity. Many chains lose their power once they are seen clearly. Card meaning. Oh, I'm sorry. This is about the spread. So this spread explores the beliefs or fears that may be limiting your freedom. So breaking the chain spread. What shadow aspect of myself is asking to be acknowledged? What belief or label may be restricting my sense of identity? Where have I given power to fear or shame? And how can I reclaim my sovereignty in this situation? Lilith speaks. They called me a demon because they feared my freedom. The Unbound Vow. I see the chains for what they are. I am not bound unless I choose to be. I reclaim what was never taken from me. And the seats of power. The primary is the root chakra, and the secondary is the solar plexus chakra. So that's the whole write-up for the devil. And I've got one more card to show you. Okay, the last one I want to show you is the Ten of Fire. I talked briefly about it, but here's what it looks like in the big book. So Ten of Fire, the burden of equality. Archetype, the burden. Element, fire. Deacon, third deacon of Sagittarius. Planetary influence is Saturn and Sagittarius. Lilith stands beneath a circle of burning flames, her head bowed slightly as she feels the weight of everything that she has carried along the journey. The path has demanded courage, perseverance, and relentless strength. What once began as a spark has now become a responsibility that is difficult to bear. The Ten of Fire represents the culmination of effort. It is the moment when the fire that once inspired begins to feel overwhelming. Behind Lilith burn 15 flames. Though this card traditionally carries 10 flames, the presence of 15 is intentional. The number reflects key 15 of the major arcana, the devil, a card long associated with Lilith through centuries of myth, fear, and misunderstanding. For ages, she has been called villainess, demoness, and mother of demons, not because she committed evil. Oh, this washing machine. Okay, hopefully it's done. Not because she committed evil, but because she refused to kneel. She refused to accept a role of submission, demanded equality, and chose exile rather than surrendering her autonomy. Those 15 flames represent the weight of projection. It is the burden of labels placed upon those who dare to stand outside the boundaries of expectation. Yet the fire above her head continues to burn. Under the pressure of judgment and misunderstanding, Lilith does not extinguish her flame. The Ten of Fire reminds us that the heaviest burdens often fall upon those who refuse to portray their truth. Upright. Keywords are heavy responsibility, carrying too much alone, perseverance through burden, the weight of leadership, and completion of a difficult journey. The Ten of Fire appears when responsibilities feel overwhelming or when too much has been taken on at once. may signal a period where effort has reached its peak and relief is near. Shadow expression, keywords: burnout and exhaustion, feeling overburdened or trapped, taking on too much responsibility, and difficulty letting go of control. In shadow, the fire becomes overwhelming and may lead to exhaustion. The card encourages releasing what no longer needs to be carried. Astrological influence. Saturn represents responsibility, discipline, and the lessons that come through perseverance. When combined with Sagittarius's visionary fire, it often brings a period of heavy effort that ultimately leads to wisdom and transformation. It is the moment when the traveler nears the end of a demanding journey. So the fire of release spread. What responsibilities have become too heavy to carry alone? What expectations or labels am I still holding on to? Where I need to release burdens that no longer serve me, and how can I reclaim my fire without allowing it to burn me out? So, Lilith speaks. They called me a demon because I refused to bow, but the fire that they feared was only my freedom. The Unbound Vow. I release what is no longer mine to carry. I do not prove my worth through burden, and I choose what I hold. Seats of power. Primary, solar plexus chakra is, and the secondary is the root chakra. So there you go, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this sneak peek walkthrough of my new decks and books. I am so excited. I've worked really hard on this. This is something that has been bubbling up to the surface for quite some time now. I've been working with Lilith for a couple of years now, and I feel like the time was right, which it is in the beginning of the book. I talk about everything that was going on at that time and what just like sparked it, almost like an awakening or like a download that happened at that time. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And then all of a sudden I started getting visions of cards in my head, and it was Lilith. She was speaking to me. So I hope you have enjoyed this. It is going to be released. The books are all going to be released on April 25th. Once that goes live, I will put an announcement. And once I get the new updated decks, I will do quick walkthroughs so that you can see those, okay? Yes, I used AI technology. If you want to leave me a nasty comment about how you disagree with me, don't waste your breath, okay? Don't waste your breath, because I'm just going to mute you and then block you from my channel. It's as simple as that. You are very much entitled to your opinion, but I don't care about your opinion. So that's that. So thank you for spending this time, and I am sending you love, always.